body without anyone seeing me and seeing the van or just so. The only place I can think of is just driving it. It's just so funny. I'm saying City Island, but I'm not even sure if I wanted City Island. But I just knew I wanted to get off the streets and get onto a highway. How did you feel? Was you mad? Was you angry? Like, what was going on in your head? I was very mad.
Charleston White, the same thing. He's a rat too.
Killed.
That answers that.
A nigga that I loved. A nigga that I was getting money with. A nigga that I called my brother.
Let me just say something. I don't take no real emotions in none of this shit. It is what it is. I know who I deal with and what type of people I like and rock with. That's I know what I stand for. My channel is my channel. I can say whatever I want to say on this channel. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully some of it makes sense to you. You know what I mean? As far as the ethics department, yeah. The ethics department, if you told on somebody you're a rat, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Am I about to go fucking have a bowl of cornflakes with any one of these people that I'm talking about? Hell no, I don't know none of these niggas. I'm just talking on internet.
We kept driving this way, and until I could find
the people what I rock with and the type of people I deal with, the people that know me personally know what I stand for and who I rock with and what type of shit I don't rock with. I'm about to get on the Clubhouse right now and see what's going on, right? So the people that know me personally and my personal life know what I stand for and how I rock. And if they have a problem, then I'm pretty sure they'll ask me. But when it comes down to these people that I'm seeing in the public, the people who are on the internet or whatever, I'm analyzing what's going on. I'm just a mere witness of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if Charleston White live or die. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if Hassan Campbell live or die. You want to ask somebody else? You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if nobody live or die if I don't fuck with them. When a tree drops in the forest, does anybody hear it? Why the fuck would I care? I only care about what I know and who I know personally.
To leave the body. Go around this turn right here. Yeah, loop it real quick. It was somewhere over here. So I pulled over like right here, just do the van up on the.
Like, what do I feel about this? Like, let's ask about what I feel about this. Let's think about this one right here, right? This nigga is showing where he put his man's body after he killed him for some made up excuse. You know what I'm saying? For some bricks. Right? He's showing where. Now, how do I feel about this? This is not what Charleston White is doing. Charleston White didn't kill 19 motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And then rat. Charleston White ain't killed 9 people in rat. Charleston White ain't killed nobody. Do I agree with the fuck he did? Hell no. But am I about to have a fucking bowl of cornflakes with one of these niggas? No. You think I would have been fucking having a bowl of cornflakes with this nigga Alpo? Or any one of these niggas? This is the shit that they worship, though. See, I represent the civilian. This is what I represent. Civilian that don't like rats. Why? Because it affect my life. Rats. That's why we got so much rat poison out here, man. Tell y'all something about New York, man. One thing that y'all don't know. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna tell y'all shit. I'm gonna just keep on playing. This is why every time I get on lives, I tell y'all that I'm not doing lives no more because this shit be getting out of control, man. You gotta really be a motherfucking zookeeper to do this shit.
Came to the rail. Once I pulled over,
I'm the zookeeper.
my little man, Gary's probably like
A zookeeper.
5'3", 1 something. So I'm trying to stay behind this. I'm trying to stay behind the steering wheel. I'm trying to stay in the driver's seat just in case we gotta pull off, and have him go dump the body. But when he went to go try to dump, get Rich out the car, he couldn't pick him up. He couldn't pick him up. Rich was bigger than him, so he couldn't move him to put him in the woods and all that. So now I had to get out the van to go help him. And when I went to go help him, Richard made a sound. So that shit startled me. Like, oh shit, he's still alive. So I grabbed the gun. I grabbed the gun from my little man and put one in his head. And then I had to pick him up. And dump him in the woods and leave his body. I was able to, get him where he needed to be. And then we jumped back in the van.
And if I'm correct, they killed Gary after that too. Didn't he have Wayne kill Gary?
And I made sure I didn't skid off or anything like that to leave any kind of tracks. And we left. And the rest was the newspapers. The rest was history. When Richard was when that would happen to Richard, I don't understand that statement, but that's the way he felt. And again, that's just, I guess he feels better if he glorifies him. So, but let's keep it real now. How did they even get the idea that you killed Richard?
Zero.
Huh? How did they find out that you killed Richard? I told them. You told them? I told him. You told AZ? Yeah, I told AZ I killed Richard. Why'd you tell him? I was on the phone talking to him, and I said, I know you want to know. Just like I said when I talk to certain people. How did the police know? Huh? How did the police know? The police? Right. I told them. You told them too? Yeah. I had to confess to all these murders and all that. Oh, okay. Just in case it came up later. Right. When you're in that situation as far as dealing with the government or cooperating with, you don't just tell them. You got to tell your involvement too. Okay. You don't just tell what other people did. You got to tell what you did too. It's like a double-edged sword. Okay, I got you. People have a serious misconception as far as, snitching or cooperating and all that. When you sit down with them people, it depends who you are and what your dealing is and all that. But since I was at the top of the totem pole, right, they want you to tell everything. I got to tell everything that was my involvement. Everything I had something to do with, I had to. So I was the person who
I had a whole show ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't really been wanting to do I ain't really wanted to do YouTube for a little while. I was gonna chill off of this shit until after New Year's. But now y'all got my attention though. I like this. You know what I'm saying? And for the people that think that this shit is about trolling and playing on my channel. See? You done messed up. Puto. Man. Watch this though.
Where do we begin?
I'm surprised Troy Reed sat down with this puto, but he did. And this nigga couldn't wait to talk about another motherfucker.
With this one right here, like, for those
I'm interested.
For those of y'all that don't know, this is the great Troy Reed.
Now, when I met Troy Reed was still selling DVDs. This ain't no diss. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? I was staying on 140th. That's where my first baby mom's is from. She from 140th. My oldest son is from 140th. You know what I'm saying? So I was over there 140th in 2003, 2004, 2005, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Then I moved up. Well, I started on 134th. Then I moved to 40th. Then I went up to 149th Dunbar and stayed up there. You know what I'm saying? So I got stabbed up and left up out of that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because I got stabbed up, but we was on our way out the door anyway. You know what I'm saying? So a little while after I got stabbed up, we bounced from over there, right? So anyway, Harlem. That's where I met Troy Reed when he used to be selling his DVDs and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Larry Davis joint. All right. So that's my little history.
You took a lot of you put a lot into Alpo. A lot into Alpo. Where did it begin at?
I would say me and Alpo was invested in one another. You know what I'm saying? Like I went to see him at a time where, nobody was really going to see him. He was kind of an outlaw as being a government informant. You know what I'm saying? So, my man Oli is a kid named Oli. You know what I'm saying? That was like, that's from his project. And I got in contact with Oli, and Oli actually took me to go see Alpo. But my first interest to go see Alpo was from Black Star Video on 132nd Street. That was where their first store was. And the kid Pop that owned that store used to be like, yo, Troy, I don't care what you do, you gotta do you gotta do Alpo's documentary just on Alpo because that's what people want to hear. And he had his ear to the street, so it was kind of like, you know what? That's exactly what I went and done. And I went and found this kid named Oli through my man PJ who was going to see Alpo, and he took me to go see Alpo for the very first time up in Otisville.
Okay, so what was the steps that you had to take in order to go see him? Like, did you have to, because people gonna want to know, like, did the witness protection, or did he have to get a special pass from the jail for you to be able to come to see him?
Oh, he definitely did. He had to get,
You can tell Hassan Campbell ain't used to interviewing motherfuckers. That's why he don't interview people on his channel. Yeah, he just ain't got that talent.
Clearance. Pretty much most people that's in the feds got to get clearance. His was kind of like, similar, you know what I'm saying, where, they had to do a background check. They had to make sure you're not a felon or if you was a felon or, you ain't been in prison or in the fed system. So I had to go through a check like that. It took about a week or two. He sent me a visiting form.
Hit that like button, y'all. Let's give it up.
Once I got that clearance, me and the kid, Oli, God bless the day, we went to Louisville prison.
So what was that first visit like? Because obviously somewhere in that first visit is what created the bond that led you to where you at right now.
Right. Well, when I first went to see Alpo, off the bat, it wasn't like I was meeting him for the first time. He had a type of spirit that was like if you knew him already. You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as you came in his presence, it was like you knew him. He didn't say, hey, how you doing? My name is Alpo. He just got right into like talking to you about sports, girls, or something. So we clicked right away because my first encounter with him was when I was like about 17 years old, and I was hustling, and we was up in this park up in the Bronx, and he had seen this girl named Tammy that he liked, and his man Rudy that was with him, Poe had a broomstick. Remember, he used to play with the baseball sticks, like from the broomstick.
Right.
He had a broomstick in his hand, and he tapped me on the back of my heel. So I turned around. I was like, who's this dude tapping me like that? So he tapped me. He said, yo, shorty, what's that girl name you just was talking to? And I said, her name is Tammy. He said, yo, listen, I'll give you $100 if you get her number for me. And I looked at him like, I was like, he must be somebody to tell me to give me $100. I'm 17 at the time. So I looked and I was like, yeah, she got a boyfriend. And she used to go with this kid named Gator. And I was like, yeah, she got a boyfriend, but I'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? And when he walked away, he went to a black 350Z convertible. He had a Z. Him and his kid Rudy. And he went to the car. By the time he got to the car, my man Khalid came to me and said, yo, Troy, you know who you was talking to? And I was like, nah. He was like, yo, that's the kid Alpo. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. You sure? And he was like, yeah. So that right there, I told him that story. He remembered that story. You know what I'm saying? So right off that in the visit, in the first 15, 20 minutes of meeting him, I told him that story. And he was like, yo, Troy, I remember that, man. He said, when a nigga go to jail, all he remembers that summer he got locked up. And he says, yo, I remember that. He said, I remember you that well, but I remember the girl. And right then and there, we just clicked. we just clicked from there, and you know, we just started having fun on the visit, just talking, and it wasn't like I was talking to, you know, I was expecting that gangster killer, murderer, that stick-up kid, but I wasn't talking to that person at that point. He was already 14 years into his 25-year sentence. I wasn't talking to that person at that point.
Okay, so what was the length of the time span of you going to see him in jail?
Well, I went to see Alpo for 10 years straight. 10 years straight.
I never even knew that.
Sometimes twice a month for 10 years straight. That's the relationship we had. And in that first 5 years was pretty much, you know, interviews and talking and, you know, me putting out his documentary in the first year, 2 years, 3 years. I put out his documentary. We kept a relationship. But after that 4 to 5 year mark, it switched because the documentary thing was over. We just started to have a brotherhood. It just started to turn into a brotherhood where, like I said, he was investing in me. I was investing in him.
Wax Dog salute.
And like I said, I probably, me personally, would never meet another person like that again. Just because the charismatic person that he was and how honest he was and, you know, just the space that he was in. There was no signs of Alpo when I went to see him. There was no signs of a killer. There was no signs of a tough guy. You know, if I came on a visit and was saying nigga and B's about girls and stuff, he'd be like, yo, why you cursing? Why you saying the word nigga? Why you calling her B? He would, you know, kind of G-check you in your conversation about speaking in that manner because that wasn't the lane that he was in.
So basically, it's like when I say to a lot of the cats, Alpo done turned from the caterpillar into the grown man, and a lot of people didn't get to see that side of him.
Oh no, because like I said, I always waited to see Alpo, like just a sign of him, just a sign of Alpo. When am I going to get to see Alpo? But the people that I now know that was in there with him in the witness protection program, that was playing racquetball with him, that was his cellmates, that was in there with him, as I spoke to them through the years, they was like, they never saw Alpo. They never saw that character. Like, he was reformed. You know, on the visits, we talked a lot about God. We talked about, you know, I would ask him tough questions. Those first 2 or 3 years on that visit with him, I would ask him everything. I mean, I would pry on everything. And the good thing about him is he used to be like, yo, Troy, ask me whatever you want. Whatever you want. And he was really, really honest about who he was. If a nigga went in his pocket, he'd tell you that dude went in my pocket. That dude went in my pocket 3 or 4 times. If that dude was that dude that he looked up to, he'll tell you, you know, I used to look up to this dude right here. You know, but at the same time, he'll tell you who he was. You know what I'm saying? And so there was no lying. I've been on a visit with a lot of notorious killers, gangsters, and everything. He really stood out from the rest of them because most of those guys would tell you what they want you to know. Or they would have a persona. Or they would be just that gangster, that tough guy. Poe stayed away from Alpo, and Albert was in full effect on that visit. That 10 years that I went to see him, Albert was in full effect on that visit when you came to see him. And in that first 3 years when I was interviewing him, like, he would tell you some of the most amazing stories. Like, some of them you just look like you would just be in awe because he was really, really honest. And because he already told the government, he was able to tell you everything.
So for you, like, what was the story that he told you the most that stood out?
Alpo had 3 triggers. The kid who raised him in them streets, which I don't want to say.
Hit that like button on the way in.
His mother, and his fresh year fun family. You want to get an emotion out of him? It was those 3 triggers right there. Those 3. His mother, don't play with his mother. Him and his mother had a relationship like no other. They had a relationship like I've never seen a mother and son relationship like that in my life. And the way he was about his mother is he mimicked that with women. He loved women, but he also respected women and treated women with a high regard. So that was a trigger, his mother. The second one was the kid who raised him in the streets. He was probably the only person that when he spoke his name, he kind of whispered it. Everybody else can name anybody. You can name preacher. You can name any notorious dude in the street. Poe just talk fluent. But when you say this one dude name who raised him in the street, it's like a father-son type of relationship where he just, you know, somebody tell you about your dad, you kind of like, yeah, my father. You know, it was like that. And it's Fresh Air Fun family. You know.
So the respect, because I gotta ask you this: the respect for the woman. Is that
Sorry about that one set. Yeah.
As Alpo talking,
that might be
great.
right there.
He like, yeah, cause he about to ask me a question that's contradicting that real quick.
Yeah.
So the respect for the woman, right? Did that come after he came from jail? Because I know that's not the respect that he had before he went to jail.
Well, you gotta remember, I can't speak about nothing Alpo did.
Alpo was video recording himself fucking bitches.
You know, I just recently had some phone.
They was talking about Alpo was they said Alpo allegedly, right? Fuck it, nigga dead, right? Alpo was having women handcuffed to radiators with dogs having sex with them. All right? Not only one person told me this, neither. This is common knowledge. Stop acting like y'all don't know what I'm talking about right now. Because some of these women was some niggas' moms. Let's think about it, man. Let's think about it. I seen a video earlier with a dude that shot he had a air gun, right? There was this crackhead chick. She didn't even look real old. This was on Tremont. Hit that like button on the way in door. We gonna spark the algorithm, man. I'm gonna get on some clout chasing shit this week. Check this out, right? And I ain't got no hair on my tongue. I'm calling a lot of niggas out up until motherfucking New Year's and probably after that shit too. I might be on permanent bullshit. But this woman, this crackhead lady, right? Opened her mouth up and the nigga took a machine gun, he took not a machine gun, an air pistol, and was shooting her in the mouth with the air pistol. You know what I'm saying? For $5. Poeing them was tying motherfuckers up or handcuffing motherfuckers. They said Preacher was into that shit too, but you gotta think about it. Preacher was out there raping niggas. Now, I'm from Preacher's block. Well, I'm from 183rd, but 149th, that's Preacher's block. Dunbar? Come on, man. Dunbar is like, y'all think, you remember New Jack City? Nah. This shit is a whole block that's like that, that's locked down, gated up. All right? It says, word on the street. Legend has it. Hassan and Troy Reed got died in a threesome with Bambaataa. That's not Roski. But I respect it.
Conversations or whatever. Alpo had this thing where there was a few times where he went to the rooftop and he put some videos on the screen.
Okay.
And one of the nights that he put the videos on the screen, it just so happened to be some chicks from Bronx River. And
wait. See, he might be embellishing this a little bit. I ain't even know that. I never seen this interview a day in my life. You know what I'm saying? Who channel is this on anyway? What the fuck am I looking at? Give me a second, man. I'm about to get flagged. This is Hassan Campbell channel.
because there was a little tension with him, with some of the dudes in Bronx.
Well,
and I know these chicks.
Fair use. You know what I'm saying? It ain't matter. Come get this funky channel.
So he actually came to Bronx River and dropped the tapes off, and they played the tapes in the center. You know, and
they played the tapes in the center. I never heard about that.
Like he wasn't beefing with dudes. He just smashed some of these dudes' sisters and girls, and
this nigga must be reading my mind.
Passed them on to him. In one of the cases, one of the females, I guess after she seen herself on tape or whatever the case may be, she lost the noodles. Because one of them specifically was freaking off. He had a freaking off.
But I always wonder what Hassan Campbell like really where he stand. Is you like against the streets or you for the streets? I don't know. There'd be a lot of double talking, man. I don't know, man. And all y'all niggas that be rocking with this type of shit, man, I don't know about nothing. If you don't speak, let me explain something, man. They used to have a saying, you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I'm old-fashioned, man. All-American type motherfucker. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
The dog. So that's like.
But is that hearsay or is
no?
It's true. That's what you saw.
No, it's true.
Okay.
It's absolutely. I know the females.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's absolutely true. Yeah. As far as but that's back. That's judging on the 19, 20-year-old Alpo.
Yes.
Right.
And I can't. I can't sit here and, you know, comment on that because that's not. I didn't know Alpo then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I would be sitting in the stands, you know, thinking and saying the same thing as well at that time. You know what I'm saying? I was a young boy at that time, so I can't really comment on that right there.
Right. So the triggers, the three people that was his triggers, you know, or better yet, no, let me bring it back a little bit, back to, you know, the jail visits, the documentary. Like, so how did y'all get started on the documentary, the first one that you did with him?
Well, the first one was, like I said, when I went to see him when he was 14 years in, you know, Poe was so disconnected from the street at that time that he was, when I got there and I was trying to do this documentary, Poe was like, yo, why do you want to do this on me? Like, I already spoke on Feds magazine through the audio interview. You already did something on the Game Over. You highlighted me in that. Like, why are you here? Why do you want to do more on me? And I kept trying to tell him, the streets want more of you. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't really phantom that.
Well, let's get back into what Unruly said earlier, right? She's saying about the interviewers and how far do you take it? How far do you take it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how far do you take it? Well, yeah, I do agree with Miss Benzo said. She said something to the effect that he's not the greatest interviewer, but he has a way of just asking the question straight out or whatever. You know what I mean? The best interviewers let the person, you know, like talk. You know what I'm saying? But we got to think, though. Go back to Vlad. How many people done got they self indicted or self snitched on themselves or dry snitched on somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Or started some beef. How much beef done started from the Vlad couch? How much beef done started from that? Remember that kid, Jada Youngin? Is Jada Youngin still alive? Find me a river. Yeah, no. Yeah. All these boys out here, right? No. You know what I'm saying? Says Hassan is the one night stand mistake. Entitled baby mother that feels you owe her everything because of the child and her issues. Bam really messed his head and thighs up. I like to just say butthole. Can everybody just say butthole? I mean, come on, man. We already porn bombing and shit like that. By the way, my video's processing. I'll cut that piece out. You know what I'm saying? Should I have commercials on in the morning? Stay woke. You know what I mean? But can everybody say just butthole? Just say B-U-T, hole. Spell it the way you want, but don't spell it the right way. Is Jada Youngin dead?
At this time, 14 years into his prison system, he was gullible. He was he was pure-minded. He was disconnected.
I'm making this quick video because it has been 1 month since joining the Cash Flow 101 system, and so what I wanted to do is
stop lying, nigga.
Happened in those streets, and he, you know, for instance, I used to ask him a question like, "Yo, do you ever have night?"
Now, Troy Reed's my man. Is he making excuses for Alpo? Does he have an affinity for rats, or is he just being a person that wanted to interview because of streets? And I can tell you this: for me, knowing Troy, it wasn't about clout for him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about clout. He must have been getting the questions and you know, I don't know. I just don't understand that video, why he put the video out with him, you know what I'm saying, showing where he put the body. I don't know. That ain't sit right with me.
It's about any of the people you killed or the bodies you caught or Rich or anybody. And he would say this very straightforward. He would say, Troy, no, I don't. He says, because Alpo was a character in the streets and I was just playing that character. So I don't dream about none of that stuff. I don't think about none of that stuff because I'm disconnected from it. That was something that I did based on that lifestyle. But that's not my lifestyle no more. And I asked him that question over and over and over. And it was always remained the same because he was in a different space. So when I went to see him to do the documentary, you know, it was a little bit like, okay, somebody's interested in me. It's like okay, well, you know, Troy, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to ask, you know, I'll tell you. And you know, he just gave me whatever I needed. He gave me pictures. He gave me this. He sent me to this person. He sent me that person. He told me who was this. You know, like I said, that trigger, his Fresh Year Fun family, that was a trigger. That was probably the one interview that I did for him that he kept beasting me. And at that time, he was in Arizona, somewhere next to Scottsdale in the federal witness protection program out there. And he was like, "Little bro, you coming this week?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Scottsdale is beautiful. I've been there a few times.
The Fresh Year Fun family. He's like, "All right, make sure you come see me." I'm like, "All right." So that week I didn't go. That weekend that came, I didn't go, but I went the following week because so happened Guy Fisher was also in a program, not a program, but was in a penitentiary prison out there. So I was like, I could kill two birds with one stone. So I went to go see Guy in one place, then I went to see Alpo. And when I got on a visit to see Alpo, he just was like, yo, what did they say? What did my Fresh Year Fun family say? And he was adamant about it. And I was like, yeah, nah. I said, you was a good kid, and you know, you was this and you was that, and they loved you. You could have been anything. He was like, yo, was they mad at me? I was like, no, they showed mad love. They love you. He was like, Troy, you know, this is the first and only time, one of the first times I seen him, he didn't cry, but his eyes get watery. And he was like, Troy, that was my fork in the road. If I would have stayed with that Fresh Year Fun family, I would have been anything else in the world. But because my probation officer made me come back home from a crime that I committed, which is in the book, you know, you can read in the book, he says, Troy, that bothers me, and that's something that I can't escape because my life, there wouldn't be no Alpo if I would have went to that Fresh Year Fun family. So that's, every time we ever touched on that Fresh Year Fun family, that water come to the eyes. Never cry, but that water come to the eyes.
It's funny you say that because I'm sitting up here and I'm analyzing Alpo, and they say when you're a psychopath, because in some, like, not knowing any better and evaluating him from the outside, and Alpo comes off as a psychopath, but a psychopath doesn't have any feelings. It's kind of hard for them to pretend like they have feelings. But then when you listen to Alpo, it's like, okay, now you get to hear about the family that he had in that fork in the road. It brings me to, when I evaluate him, it's like, okay, so Alpo was one of the dudes in the streets that realized when he played the game, he had to separate his emotions from his friends. There's no friends in the game. It's every man for itself in the game. And it's deep because when I analyzed the game, I came in the game raised by certain people and came with a certain brotherhood.
How not to interview, Alex?
And it's like it was all or nothing for us, and that's how some people play their cards. You know, where you may have some dudes go down and don't tell at all. Then you have dudes like Alpo. It seems like to me, from listening to you and others, Alpo already decided when he started to play this game, it's every man for himself.
Well, let me say this. Because he was I consider what you read in the book, he was a man child. And he was raised by wolves. And you got to remember, he came in the game in the early 80s, 1979, early 80s, 13, 14 years old. This is when gangsters was gangsters and men was men. You know what I'm saying? And this is who, he's a child amongst these men in the streets. And at one time I asked him on a visit, I was like, yo, this is one of my questions. I was like, yo, you know who, I got all these pictures of a couple of young guys with you on the pictures. I said, yo, which one of them was your best friend? Who was your best friend? And he said, little bro, he said, I never had a best friend. To me, that was disturbing. That was like, what you mean you never had a best friend? And he says, I never had it. He said, I had 12 or 13. I had people I ran around. I did little, you know, we snatched little people purse out of the car on the FDR Drive. We did little robberies. We did little things. But I never had a best friend. That was another thing that triggered our relationship because from that moment on,
hit that like button.
Not a joke, but I was like, yo, from this day on, I'm going to be your best friend. This is what I told him. He looked at me, and that's the first time he called me little bro. He was like, yo, all right, little bro, I got you. And from that point on, that's another pivotal point that changed our relationship. Because he never, he didn't have best friends. So almost what you're saying about, like every man for themselves, that kind of was his mentality.
Look, that porn bomb kind of worked for me because you got to think. The other video, we going to put that out, and now I'm going to probably retitle this video to something else now. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, whoever did that.
You know what I'm saying? Because of how he was raised by
I got 2 videos for the price of 1.
Knee deep in the street in a way you have to be, in a way you have to be disconnected. And I would also ask him, like, did psychiatrists or different counseling people try to give you counseling in the feds because you
Prince
were
Paul
considered a serial killer? And he'd be like, no, look, bro, I'm not suicidal. I'm homicidal.
Good.
Meaning, I ain't going to just kill nobody to kill nobody. I was playing a game, and I was able to do what I needed to do in those streets that went along with that game. But I'm definitely not a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? And he made that clear. And that was clear with him because, you gotta remember, Alpo died at 56, right? He didn't have one gray hair, probably to the last year or 2 of his demise. He didn't have no gray hair. I used to always look at him and be like, yo, how you don't have no gray hair? I got gray hair. How you don't have gray hair? And it's because he processed and he separated and he compartmentalized. Like I said, that fresh air fun family, he compartmentalized that. That love for his mother, he compartmentalized that. That what happened in the street, that was compartmentalized. So we would be on a visit, and I mean, he would tell you some of the most riveting stories. And the correction officers would get up at the end of the visit, and when he goes in the room and I come out, I get ready to leave, they would be like, man, that was a hell of a story. This is the correction officers. They ear hustling, just listening to his stories because he just letting it go. And he was, like I said, really good at compartmentalizing everything that happened in his life. But just those 3 things is what you could get those emotions to come out of. But everything else, it just was, accredited to the game.
It's deep. It actually dealing with him. It's actually deep. And I wish I could have got or had the chance, but being that I have you, it'd be the closest thing that we could get to Alpo to really just like, he's a class in session. Yeah. Alpo's a class in session from the 1st grade all the way to college. And if you play your cards right in these classrooms, you can educate the kids and make them understand, like, this is the path that you don't go towards. There's certain brothers, like I spoke to one of them, I'm not going to mention his name, just earlier today, he was like, he would never put a rat on his platform. But one of the main purposes of me sitting down with Tekashi 6ix9ine, I'm like, these people don't understand. This young dude got about 33 million kids. It's not adults running behind him. These are the children. So anybody that has you intrigue, or the people intrigue, the children intrigue like that, you have to really, really pay attention because this is a lesson in the class within itself. When it comes to Alpo.
Did y'all take notice of my profile name? Just saying.
I've come across old school gangsters that'll tell you straight up and down, kill all rats. They all say the same thing. Alpo was the one exception.
This motherfucker, we saying the same thing. Puss.
I would never, in a million years, make an excuse for a person that killed 14 people and did the things that he did. There's no way. Alpo told me numerous times, little bro, don't ever defend Alpo. Don't ever defend Alpo. I know who Alpo was. He was a bad man that had to do what he had to do in that game. This is his words. So, and me personally, I would never, it's nothing I can tell 14 families. It's nothing I can tell 14 kids. This is one of my questions that he got mad at in my interview with him when you see that footage of us going to City Island. Because I told him, I asked him a really tough question to try to get some emotions out of him about it. So I would never defend those things with him. But from a producer, a director, from a business perspective,
this is what I wanted to hear.
As like you say, the influence that he has with the world is what made me pick up and say, let me do his story. But you just said a key thing. He is a person, it's like class in session with him. Like, you gotta remember, everything from AZ, Alpo, Richport, and anybody from back then, we all learned from them. To this day, people are still stuck doing what these guys and the guys before them, Nicky Barnes, anybody else before them, are still mimicking to this day. You understand what I'm saying? So, from that perspective, as
hit that like button, y'all.
And a director, that perspective is where I would do this story 10 more times, because it's what the world likes. It's what they want to know. It's what they want to see.
Well, Troy Reed ain't never claimed to be a gangster, so it wouldn't be wrong for him. That would be the same thing as Barber in the news. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he ain't never claimed to be from the streets. He ain't never claimed to be a gangster. So if he want to talk, you know, interview rats for a bag and stuff like that, then do your thing. You know what I'm saying? That's your thing. Like, just like you can't get mad at the people that interviewed Sammy the Bull from whatever show that was.
He was, regardless, he'll tell you himself, I know what I did. But on the other hand of what I did, there's no rules. And Poe, he said this adamant too, and I wrote this in the book. I spent my whole life making men in my life God. Meaning the dude who helped make him a beast, he was God in his life. All the drug dealers that was before him, he looked at him like, yo, whatever they say to play the game, that's the way I'm going to play the game. He says, but Troy, when I was with them, they was always making the rules work for them. There was really no rules. They just, if they said don't bang somebody's girl, they was banging somebody's girl. They said this one you shouldn't kill. They wind up killing somebody that was close to that person. On and on and on.
That's what Yuckmouth was talking about earlier.
But there was, he said, when I look back, there was truly nobody really keeping the rules. The rules was built based off of that top drug dealer at that time. And he says, when he had to make his decision, he understood that what rules. So that was his perspective of the way he felt about his decision that he had to make for himself.
If it's iceberg, that'd be fly. I want that. I doubt it. That's probably just Fordham Road.
I'm not in his situation. You know what I'm saying? And he always made sure with our relationship, at least once or twice a year, he would ask me, little bro, you okay with going out in the world and being attached to me? And, you know, are people knowing we're dealing with you? Are you okay with that? Like, are you comfortable? That's why, bro, at this point, man, I don't see Alpo. I'm dealing with Albert. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with dealing with Albert. And that was as we continued to progress. So I didn't, you know, you could always learn something from him. You know what I'm saying?
So what was the question that you asked him, that kind of trick that you used to try to trigger him, and he got a little emotional?
Well, when we went on the, this is in the book, when we went to do that interview, it was we sat for 10 years on a visit saying, yo, when I get home, you know, I want to let the world know, see that I grew and I'm a different person. And so when we did that interview, there's no getting around telling his story. His story's his story. So people get mad and go, Troy, you know, that video that got leaked was too gruesome and it was too, you know, I said,
did y'all see this already?
In the Feds magazine interview. Just as bad.
I never even knew this existed.
Physically seeing him, and I can't stop him from telling his story. When I interviewed AZ and the rest of them, they told their story. He's finally home. I gotta let him tell his story. And if this is the walkthrough for us to tell it, this is what I'm telling. So when we got there, at this point he had been home for like 3 years, 2 years. So when we got there, he fell into the character of Alpo.
Okay.
So in the van, it was a crew of us. In the van, it's like 6 or 7 guys. So he was more like, not trying to impress nobody or nothing like that, but he was being Alpo. And I was looking for Albert to explain this tour we on, this journey we on.
Does that make more sense?
Doing that.
Does that make more sense to y'all now? Because it makes a lot more sense to me now. What we was talking about earlier, did he do what he like? Why did you let him do this? You know what I'm saying? And he said he was like, yeah, I understand it. I understand it a little bit more now. I understand. And it's just something Poe wanted to do, I guess.
And sympathetic like he was when he was in prison. He was other times we talked about it. So I asked him a question, and I said, I got a son that I was able to do amazing things with at his sneaker store and be a great dad to him and my other kids and different things. I said, but you took that opportunity away from 14 people. That bothered him. That triggered him. Because Alpo was like, what you mean? Like Alpo wanted to defend himself. Albert would have said, yeah, I know, Troy. I know what I did was wrong. That's what Albert would have said. That's what Albert said on the visit 1,000 times. Albert would have gave the right question, but Alpo was like, nah. He wanted to defend his.
That's crazy.
And that question triggered.
Now we gotta go back. We gotta do that. We gotta do that piece again. That's crazy. Wait a minute. That's crazy. Listen to this part very carefully. If y'all really care about this shit, if y'all just macking, chilling, smoking your weed, pay attention to this part right here.
To that person, on and on and on. They secrets ain't out in the world, but there was. He says, when I look back, there was truly nobody really keeping the rules. The rules was built based off of that top drug dealer at that time. And he says when he had to make his decision, he understood that what rules. So that was his perspective of the way he felt about his decision that he had to make for himself. And me personally, I'm not in his situation. You know what I'm saying? And he always made sure with our relationship, at least once or twice a year, he would ask my little brother, you okay with going out in the world and being attached to me? And, you know, are people knowing we're dealing with you? Are you okay with that? Like, are you comfortable? That's why, bro, at this point, man, I don't see Alpo. I'm dealing with Albert. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with dealing with Albert. And that was as we continued to progress. So I didn't, you know, you could always learn something from him. You know what I'm saying?
So what was the question that you asked him that kind of trick that you used to try to trigger him? And he got a little emotional.
Well, when we went on the, this is in the book, when we went to do that interview, it was we sat for 10 years on a visit saying, yo, when I get home, you know, I want to let the world know, see that I grew and I'm a different person. And so when we did that interview, there's no getting around telling his story. His story's his story. So people get mad and go, Troy, you know, that videos that got leaked was too gruesome and it was too, you know, I said, listen, he said the same stuff in the Feds magazine interview, just as bad. I said, so it's just now you're physically seeing him, and I can't stop him from telling his story. When I interviewed AZ and the rest of them, they told their story. He's finally home. I got to let him tell his story. And if this is the walkthrough for us to tell it, this is what I'm telling. So when we got there, at this point, he had been home for like 3 years, 2 years. So when we got there, he fell into the character of Alpo. So in the van, it was a crew of us. In the van, it's like 6 or 7 guys. So he was more like, not trying to impress nobody or nothing like that, but he was being Alpo. And I was looking for Albert to explain this tour we on, this journey we on. And he wasn't doing that. He wasn't like being sympathetic like he was when he was in prison. He was other times we talked about it. So I asked him a question, and I say, I got a son that I was able to do amazing things with at his sneaker store and be a great dad to him and my other kids and different things. I said, but you took that opportunity away from 14 people. That bothered him. That triggered him. Because Alpo was like, what you mean? Like Alpo wanted to defend himself. Albert would have said, yeah, I know, Troy. I know what I did was wrong. That's what Albert would have said. That's what Albert said on the visit 1,000 times. Albert would have gave the right question, but Alpo was like, nah. He wanted to defend himself. And that question triggered him, and he started yelling at me. He was like, yo, I'm not, what you guys are seeing in this interview when I put it out. I'm not crying. I'm not this. I'm not crying. And that was something he got mad at. Alpo got mad at.
You ever thought to yourself while dealing with Alpo, yo, this dude got split personalities
all day long. All day long.
So now you had to deal with it sounds to me you dealing with schizophrenia.
No, not in that way.
He had split personalities. And just listening to you, it's like, okay, this one, the real Alpo, the street Alpo just popped in now. And that question, him being in the scene, he actually turned into Alpo.
Well, it's more so he was home now. Remember, 10 years, every month for 10 years, there was just Albert. But now he's home. Now he's amongst the people. Now he got people talking to him. He's out in the world. He's comfortable now. So Alpo, started surfacing. Alpo started coming out. He started like feeling himself. He started coming out. So when I say split personalities that year he did, there was just a split personality of Albert, which is this really, really amazing person, and Alpo, which is who the world loves, the street, who craves for attention, who ain't gonna let nobody see no weakness. And this is why in the book, and I wrote in the book that what Alpo realized by coming down to New York City, he realized real fast, Albert is too weak to roam around New York City.
Troy Reed doing a good job of interviewing his own self. Hit that like button. Let's go.
You're going to get smashed. I got to start turning back into Alpo. There's no room for weakness here. So that's where the split personality came from, that perspective. Not crazy, not insane. There was nothing crazy about him. Like this, no one in his presence, if you met him, and I've watched it so many times, people be right with him. We laugh and joke for 2-3 hours straight with somebody. And when he walk away, if somebody said, you know who that was, right? They would never believe that was Alpo. Because there was no signs of a tough guy, no signs of a killer, no signs of none of that. He was a loner. So he didn't like being around no real tough guys. He wasn't hanging with no tough guy. You want to be a tough guy around him? He let you live. You got to be that. But he liked to be with real smooth, calm dudes in a different lane. And he didn't worry about no problem because he is the problem. He knew he was capable of being a problem. So he just really wanted to be around smooth people, not nobody with that rah-rah. So there was definitely, I can vouch and say, there's no split personalities, not in that perspective, but definitely torn between who his core of Albert is and who that character Alpo is.
Ooh.
That is where the split personality is.
So in your relationship with you and Poe,
right,
what was his main message there? Like
the relationship with Poe, not with you and Poe.
There had to be a point with him where y'all dealing with each other.
Come on, nigga.
He wants the people to know about him.
This is where we kept getting to because he kept trying to.
I'm eating banana and bread.
This is starting to. When he first came home, I just want to apologize, and if I ever bumped into anybody, I did something to their family.
With some hibiscus tea.
If they wanted to slap
you know what I'm saying?
So
that's lemon at the top of it. You know what I mean? And honey.
That was his mindset when he came home as Albert. But as the noise started taking place, like I said, Alpo started kicking in.
Gotti puts hot sauce on his dick before he suck it.
Said, listen, man, Albert, you gotta go back here. I got this from here because niggas ain't gonna just be saying what they want to say about me, talking about it. So he started getting caught in that. He started getting caught in the noise that was taking place about him, and now he wanted people to understand why he made the decision that he made. And I used to try to tell him, you're never going to be able to convince the world, better yet, gangsters and street people, that the decision that you made was the right decision to make. No, it was the right decision for you. But it's not going to be the right decision for the outlook of the world. And that's where we would differ. Because that started to become his mission. To show and tell people, defend this person, Alpo.
Did you ever have because for me, if I ever got the chance to, the one question that I would have to ask him is like, did you get a chance to ask him? Is why did he make the decision on Rich Porter, knowing that man's brother was missing?
Well, I've asked him that 1,000 times, and Albert. When I would speak to Albert was very sorrowful about that, and Albert explained to me, "Little bro, I knew Richard Porter for 3 years. That's it. People don't understand it. They don't know. I didn't meet him through the movie Paid in Full, from in prison. I met him through AZ, and I only knew him for 3 years. And we took to each other, and we had a great relationship. But he was beating me out of almost $300,000 for something that, I understand the move that he was making, but when I didn't understand why he was lying to me about it. And he says the zone that I was locked into, and at that point in life, that I was locked into it with pure killers in D.C. Once I explained to my confidants what is taking place, they was like, "Oh, you got to eat, you got to take care of that." So he says at that time, which was totally the wrong decision to make. Albert is saying this for 10 years. This is what Albert said. That was the wrong decision to make. He says, but at that time, at 20-something years old, it made all the sense for the game that I was playing to handle my business with Richard. And that's why I made that decision. And it was a business decision because we was in the streets doing business. He wasn't his sandbox friend. He didn't grow up with him. He was his man for 3 years.
Me too, True.
Based off of business. And that's why it was so easy for him to make that decision. And that's what he explained for 10 years on a visit and was very sorrowful about it.
Now, that leading up to my next question, for me.
I agree with Tavon. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree.
The trip to where he dropped the body off, breaking it down in the video. I don't know if he ever seen my response to it, but I pretty much was like trying to figure out and try to understand why would he even play that out in a scenario with himself with Pat Porter. It's like, did he get a lot of backlash behind that?
He got a lot of backlash behind that. And that's why I made an apology video for that. Not only for Rich Porter family, and I did it also for Alpo, because one thing you can't take away, Hassan, is he has to tell his story. Right. And that was the journey on his story. That was a part of him going to revisit and face his demons, face some of the things he did wrong. It's like I told you that day, that's what we said.
It doesn't seem like nothing Troy is saying is like scripted. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know what I mean? But I do feel like he has a way of like, justifying it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my honest opinion.
Out to do as Albert. But on that journey, Alpo was in full effect. You feel what I'm saying? That whole process. But he set out to address all of those demons, and that's his story. As everybody else has told their story. So
we blogging tonight.
Did that, it was the opportunity for him to show how sorry he was for it. And you will see that footage. And being that footage got leaked out for however it got leaked out, the reason I made an apology video, the reason I was very sorrowful to him and Rich Porter family is because he didn't get to finish that conversation. You just saw the gruesomeness of what he did, and that was it. But you didn't get to see him apologize. You didn't get to see him get emotional. You didn't get to see him tell you he was sorry.
Why not?
Where if you would have probably saw that after watching what he did or through that whole interview, you would probably have a different perspective. And also,
we didn't see it. That's why we got an opinion about it.
Have a different perspective. Not them, but anybody else would probably have a different perspective. Will say, well, he did do that when he was 20-something years old, and he is sorry, and he is expressing that he's sorry for what he did. And that's what was missing.
No, the only time you could have that explanation is when it doesn't affect you. You know what I'm saying? That's when you moving past being a journalist and you not being realistic. Like we gotta be realistic, because let me just say this, right? And not to mark nobody's family. If it was your family, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta understand. Like people not gonna understand that. People not, some people arguably might say that the right people just ain't catch up with them. Some people might say that because you gotta think people's families and like you never know. You never know whose son is out here just lingering for the last 30 years, turned into a whole murderer. You feel me? So I think that that's a naive perspective to take, to say that, like we would say that he's remorseful. You think if you was remorseful, you wouldn't have came home and start talking about that shit from the beginning. That's my point.
That video looks this way, but it's more to it. You know what
Fuck
I'm saying?
Alpo.
And I say that as a producer and director. There was a lot more to it. What you will get to see.
Okay.
So it's safe to say we own, me myself, because I got to be the first one to sit up there, prejudged, something that was like, I'm not going to even lie, that's like, just that little clip alone, that was powerful. The whole documentary ain't even dropped. That one piece right there was powerful. It's like, wow, everybody, I think, in New York City and through the movie was connected to this story.
Tell me a good title for this video. What should I put this as? It's probably gonna be the video that get my channel taken down. All right. But get in the comments. Tell me what y'all think I should title this video as. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't say video ass. I said video ass. Hold.
Through the news, every day was an article. And then
something like Hassan Campbell Blotch's interview.
Cameron
Nah, I ain't gonna cap at him. I like the interview. Honestly, I like the interview. I don't think that Hassan Campbell's a fucking good interview by any means, but when you gotta start somewhere, and when you ain't think about it like this, right? When you got a channel this as big as his channel, you gotta start somewhere. He's real late in the game. If anybody look at this interview, I'm like, hell no, I'm good. But I like it.
Play out, he like, I ain't gonna even lie, you couldn't have picked a better person to play the way he played. So what did Poe feel about
hit that like button?
The role that Cameron played, or just the storyline period. Like, how did he feel about it, the movie?
Woo, I got it. I'll keep it that. First one, the Snoopy sweater interview. Hassan Campbell gonna see that shit, he gonna strike my channel, man. You know what they do? They just don't want to see us around. And ain't that some shit that people strike channels? You know what I mean? People out can strike their channel. Big iceberg sweater. The Snoopy sweater. The pink Snoopy sweater. That's a Latigra shirt, bro. I don't know why it's so big, but, might belong to Bam. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? I just know y'all need to hit that like button. We doing content tonight.
No, he liked Cam. He thought Cam did a good job. He had high energy. I mean, if you was able to get Cam to play that role again, it would be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like the.
How about Troy Reed interviews Troy Reed on Hassan Campbell channel? Yes, I got it. Let me retitle it now. My channel is getting shot, y'all. I'm gonna retitle it right now. Give me a second. Y'all don't believe me? Go look at the title. I bet that should be changed in a couple of seconds. Blood clot second. A blood clot second. Second. What about this other video? Did they fix this up yet? Let me see. Let me see what we got here. Suitability. Suitability. Same alpha check for the suitability. Waiting for checks to complete. Bow. Okay. Let's see this. The Bullet Scotty Porn Bomb. Nope, I don't like that title no more. So we're going to change this to Troy Reed speaks to Troy Reed about Alpo. How about that? Nah, let's not be irrational. Okay. Oh, my bad. I forgot about y'all.
For Paid in Full. You know what I'm saying? He did an excellent job. And Poe, you know, he just thought he did a good job. Like, you know, Poe wasn't really into like the lights, camera, action, the media, the character. You know, he wasn't into that. He would wreck me. Like I could be like, yo, look at this, and he'd be like, yeah, all right. You know, I did it, cool, no problem. What else you need me to do? That was it. Like once the cameras went off or you got something out of an interview, he disconnected. Like he was so real to his core. He was just being him. You got what you want. All right, I want to get back to being me. That's how he was. Like so, he didn't watch TV really too much. He definitely didn't watch movies. He definitely had a real hard time looking at movies that we think is dope, that we think is like, yo, that nigga killed that role. He'd be like, oh, that's not really the real thing. But, you know, he was that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you'll never hear him saying, like, I watched this movie and I love watching that character that's playing that street guy. He kind of looked at it like, you know, that was his mentality.
So now him coming home, him touching the streets, like what things highlighted that you seen with him when he touched the street, like where you felt like maybe he shouldn't have did this, or maybe have you ever felt like he should have just went back to witness protection because of the tension in the streets, or it was just all good with him? Like,
I got 2 times that I felt that was the very first time I took him out. I took him to Dykeman, and this is in the book. And I took him to Dykeman, and that's one time that I feel like I shouldn't have did that. Like I shouldn't have. But she was probably going to do it anyway eventually, but I shouldn't have did that. And he came down to New York for like his first or his second time, and he was supposed to just go right back because he snuck down to New York. And he was like, "Look, bro, like, let's go hang out, man. It's 10 years, man. We ain't did nothing really. I want to hang out with you, man." He was very consistent about like, "Nah, you know, let me go out with you, little bro. I want to go out for the first time." So he did, and I took him to Don Cuco's, I think it's called, up in Dykeman. And we went there. We hung out for a little while, and then we went over to the club called a little bar called Papacitos, and the bar right next to it in Dykeman. And there he had a couple of young boys noticed him real quick. Like they noticed him real quick. And while I was at the bar, they was like, you know, talking with him, and then one of them asked could they take a picture with him, and he took the picture. He's not supposed to be in New York or nothing, but he took the picture, and he came back to me and was like, "Yeah, little bro, a little young boy just noticed me. I took a picture with him." And I was like, "What? That's what you're talking about? I just took a picture." I was like, "Yo, where the kid at?" He pointed to the kid across the bar. I went up to the kid and I was like, "Yo, listen, my brother, I know you know who he is, but he just came home. I said, please, for me, could you delete that picture?" And he was like, "All right, nah, no problem." But we was like, "Could you delete that picture out of your deleted pictures to make sure that picture's gone?" And he did. He showed us that he deleted out of it. And me and Poe walked away, and I asked the kid, "Do you want me to buy him a drink?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm good. I respect what you're saying." And when me and Poe walked away to the side, he was like, "Oh, bro, why you made him delete that picture like that?" I was like, "Yo, you don't understand the power of social media. You don't understand that picture was about to go viral. That picture," he said, "Yo," he was more oblivious. He was more like, "You think people care about me like that?" I said, "Big bro, trust me, less than 15 minutes you would have been around the world from that picture." And he liked that. You know, that triggered a little bit of Alpo, because that night, that kid must have started whispering to people about, "Yo, that's the kid from Paid in Full." So because they was younger, they was referencing him as the dude from Paid in Full, not Alpo, the real guy from Paid in Full. and you just saw the whole energy of that little bar shift. And now when everybody walk by, they're looking at him, they're paying attention to him. Different people keep trying to talk to him, and he liked that energy. And instantly he liked that energy. And that was probably one of the first times that I got a glimpse to see Alpo. This is what Alpo wants. This is what Alpo's craving right here. So that's probably one of the, first times that I would say I regret, him being in New York City. And another time was when he just started running around New York City on his own. He started like getting away from the witness protection program and started saying to himself, I'm going to come down to the city. So now he started coming down to the city without even calling. He just would come down to the city and find whoever to hang out with, and he just was in the city doing him. And that's when it was kind of like, bro, you're not moving right now. Now you're doing too much. So these are different times that started like becoming where I started seeing like, this wasn't a good idea for him to come to New York City.
So pretty much what he did was he fell back in love with the limelight, being in the city.
Yeah. Alpo loved people. So Alpo could go, like I said, he was a loner. And he would sit in the car, which I wrote in the book, how he would sit in the car. He would sit in the car for hours. And he would go visit different people. He would, like, if you introduced him to somebody and he got cool with somebody, he would just go off on his own and go to that same block and just kick it with people and be friends with them and just kick it with them because he loved people. Alpo loved people. So he never wanted to go home. He always wanted to be in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And he loved that energy of the streets. And it just was something that he couldn't get enough of. And then on top of you being Alpo, and he liked that feeling of knowing, like, these people don't know who I am, but the moment they find out who I am, he loved that response. That response is like hitting a crack pipe or something. It was just, he loved that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Now, I guess I gotta for the people. I gotta ask, like, Paparazzi Poe. They don't want to know. Paparazzi Poe, what was their relationship? Was that his real son? How did he feel about Paparazzi Poe? Like, how did their relationship even start?
I think his son Gummy introduced him to Slim, and I think they developed a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And
Slim is Paparazzi Poe?
Yeah, Paparazzi Poe.
Okay.
When I say Slim, I mean him. Paparazzi Poe. And I am not one to say if that's his dad or that's not his dad or whatever, but I think that he definitely had a relationship with Poe. And I can say that to the extent of that relationship, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's not really my business and my lane to comment on and do all that, so I'm not interested in that. But, that's something that you have to go to his son or his family and ask that question. Would be a better person to answer that question.
Well, pretty much Alpo embraced him.
Yes, for sure. That I could vouch and say, because I've been with Poe a few times where, he said, I'm on my way to go see, the kid Paparazzi Poe or whatever. So I seen 2 or 3 times where he did do that. You know what I'm saying? So in reference to that relationship being there, it was definitely a relationship there. To the extent of that relationship, I don't know that. You have to ask like his family members and his mother, aunts, and people like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know that part.
I know Alpo, I believe he lost his mother and his sister, right?
Yeah.
Coming home from jail.
Yeah.
Like, how did that impact him?
That's in the book. That's something that, you got to read.
You got to read that.
You got to go in the book and read because it was deep. It was deep. It was an emotional moment for him. That was the second time I've ever saw him, like, broken, intense, and I explain that in the book. I explain that, what happened, because his mother was his world, and that was an intense time for him, and that's in the book. And somebody can read that and really see how that was. That was definitely an intense time for him.
So did he actually move out of witness protection?
Yeah. Poe, didn't move out of witness protection. He actually got kicked out of the witness protection because they, Poe was so likable that that program kept giving him shot after shot after shot. But Alpo started coming in play. Alpo was like, man, I'm the killer. I don't need protection. I definitely don't need this program. I got everything I needed from this program, which I explained in the book. I got everything from this program. There's no need for me to be in this program. So he was moving and doing 100 things an hour, not caring about that program. But because that program understood his journey and who he was, they kept giving him chance after chance.
Salute, Cutthroat.
And he didn't care. So he found that he had no choice but to go, listen, we can't be respectful.
I fuck with Troy. And Troy did a good job of not doing too many interviews and some. I don't know why he did it with Hassan. I would like to ask him that. If you know, let me know.
And they put him out the program. And I wrote about that in the book and why he got kicked out the program.
Can y'all hear it good though?
Okay, so the images that we were seeing, the little snippets or whatever the case, where it was looking like he was in damn near a penthouse. Like, what was that?
Ooh, good point. Cause I remember that video. He said Poe killed 2 niggas since he been home. He said he probably killed more. That's what he was saying. Troy might not know all this shit. I don't know. What y'all think? Anyway, I've been on this shit an hour and a half, man. I gotta get off. All right, I didn't realize I was on this so long. Pause. All right, I'll get with y'all tomorrow, man. Matter of fact, let me finish titling this video. Boom. Bow. All right, that's fixed up. All right, see that. Now I'll just put a thumbnail on there, re-upload it, that type of thing. All right, good night, people. We had a hell of a night. It was what it was. I'm probably going to, I'm not going to even tell you what I'm going to do because most likely that should change. All right. Jizo, salute. Troy should have did the interview with me. All right, we out. I'm going to do a little bit more trolling to probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So y'all see me out here. I'm just getting off my channel. I got some construction to do.